My name is Andre V, and I'm the founder of Parcel Locker Central. And today we are talking about delivery prices and delivery prices, especially during Q4. I'm here with Kristian Puggaard from Tembi. He is a CEO of Tembi, and he is dealing with the prices. Hi, Kristian. How are you doing?
Hello, Andre. I'm doing fine, thank you.
Pleasure to have you here, and long time no see. But you have been, first of all, let's talk about your expansion because you are adding country by country already. What are the latest situation? In what markets you can provide delivery data for the customers?
Yeah, so now the situation is that we are delivering in 22 European markets, and the latest ones that we have just released are Slovenia and Spain, and Poland is actually coming up now as we speak. So that will also be published just about now. So this means that we cover most of Central and Northern Eastern Europe, actually, and also, as you can hear, some of the Southern European countries.
So for those who may be not aware of Tembi, just briefly, what are you delivering? What is the product you deliver for the logistics and shippers?
Yeah, so we analyze currently more than 800,000 web shops ongoing, and we pick up information about delivery prices, delivery methods, the shippers, carriers, and checkout, who has which kind of positions, and also about the web shops. So what do they actually do? What kind of products do they ship? The sizes, the prices, these kind of things. How many things do they have on the shelf? So that is kind of a competitive, you can say, market intelligence insight that gives the players in this area the opportunity to be ahead of the competition by knowing what is actually happening.
So basically, if you are a carrier in Slovenia or Poland or Sweden, with your service, you can log in into your system and every morning see almost real-time prices from the market. What are the delivery prices? In what e-shop the delivery prices have been changing, and so on? Is it like that?
Yeah, you can put it like that. If it's every morning, or we do it, twice per month, and then in some sites we do it more frequent. Sometimes daily basis, depending on customer demand. But actually, that is what you can do. So you can go in and know everything about, and also fully understand the market. How does it look, and how does the ones that you're having under your wings as a carrier, how are they faring, these web shops?
But now you are in a lucky position because you have done it also already for several years, and for Scandinavia countries, you have already 2 years full data logged in. So now you can start analyzing this previous data to see the future. So let's talk now about Q4. That is a big season in last mile delivery. Q4 prices. So you have posted in LinkedIn quite an interesting post already about the trends in Scandinavia. So what did you learn from that data?
Yes, what we can see if we look at the data, and here we are talking about more than 1,000 web shops that we're looking at here. And there are some slightly different, you can say, different developments in the different areas. But generally, it looks as if like the prices are increasing for out-of-home delivery. They are stabilizing and falling a bit after Q4 again when we go into Q1. So you can see, and as I said, it is a bit different in Sweden. For instance, we see that home delivery prices they spike. So that is very significant in that respect. In Denmark, they seem a bit more stable, but we see a small price increase, and actually we do see that in both. In Q4 in both parcel shops and parcel boxes, and also in home delivery. In Norway and Finland, we especially see an increase in out of home pricing as well in Q4, while it doesn't seem to be affected the same for home deliveries. And then, for instance, if we look at Norway, we see a downwards trend afterwards. Again in the next quarter in Q1. So I would say you can say that the average delivery prices is going up, and then there's of course different pricing dynamics in the different markets.
It's extremely interesting because yes, everybody in logistics knows that the Q4 volumes are the highest one, and they can increase. They can be bigger twice or three times than it is in Q1. But usually the carriers don't change prices for that. I think that now with your service and with personalized contracts, I think this is going to be quite a common that the carriers will actually increase prices due to the demand in Q4. So in that case, your information is extremely valuable source to adjust the price level for carriers to increase prices.
Yeah, and you can also say that if you look at it like that, there is a kind of an infrastructure, and that infrastructure maybe has too limited space in Q4 and maybe excess space in Q1 again. This goes for, of course, for the trucks that are driving the goods around. It goes for the parcel boxes. It goes for the delivery shops. They can't just expand that for Q4 and then reduce capacity again in Q1. So therefore, it does make sense to have this kind of a price adjustment. So it fits that, and you can say that those of us that don't need to ship a good in Q4, why don't we wait until Q1, where it's if you put it like that as a consumer, and that is these kind of things you will see that factored in the prices. It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. There's also this kind of concept like dynamic pricing is sort of gathering steam. It's quite a difficult, but difficult range from the IT part. But I've heard already some cases that the dynamic prices is already in, especially with parcel lockers. Parcel lockers, you have a fixed capacity, and if you don't have space, then you don't have space. So it's a market rules that if the demand rises, then usually also the prices will adjust. So this is the second thing again, to use your data to adjust the dynamic prices, pricing levels, because now the carriers will enter the sort of the retail position. They have to look for the prices, they have to adjust for the prices, and they have to react to the market changes. So your service is definitely one valuable source for that.
Yeah, and as you say, it seems as if there's these kind of things are happening as well. How do you, Andre, here see this? What are the opportunities that they're having for doing that? Given your background, how dynamic are the contracts? How do they look?
It has been quite stable so far in a sense that carriers contract with shippers have not been acknowledging this Q4 peak, but I know recently at least Estonian Omniva publicly announced 7% surcharge for the Q4 prices for delivery. So I think this is coming. And again, this is a good point and reminder for the carriers when you are now, it's exactly right now in the period where next year's prices are negotiated. So take an advantage on that, or think about that. Maybe you can negotiate into your contract additional pricing model for Q4 due to the higher demand.
Yeah, and you can also say that some of the data that we pick up here is the price that the consumer sees and the consumer pays, and it does make sense for some of the web shops there to increase price a bit, because then they can get a higher margin in a time that is busy for everyone. But then, of course, it would make perfectly sense for the carriers to say, this is also our peak season. We might need to rent more trucks, or, pay people more overtime work. And we see those that work in the area also that work at more like classical office jobs. We see them posting pictures on LinkedIn that now we're working here, helping you get the packages home. So of course, it does make sense to think of it like that.
Exactly. So, and we also, there are different additional delivery methods be adding. There are gig economy, like bike drivers and robotic deliveries. So I think retailers and carriers will need to start thinking as delivery as commodity, and it means that this is different prices. That the demand is fluctuating. It also be affecting the prices. So this is a big change, but I think this is inevitable. And your service, your market intelligence service is extremely important in that situation where you need to adjust prices, whether for the yearly contracts or even on the dynamically everyday level.
Thank you, Andre. I personally agree. Whether it's our service or not, it's pretty needed to have that kind of information.
The e-commerce, the e-shops have done tremendous job on personalizing their services. They try to anticipate what customer wants and try to show exact products with exact pricing, personal products, personal prices. But the delivery has been staying quite the sort of straightforward analog service with one delivery option, home delivery, and with fixed price. I think this is going to be changed. I think the delivery is going to behave in the same way as every e-commerce product. This is going to be personalized. You will have 20 delivery options maybe from different providers, and customers will have to choose first the product from the e-commerce and then delivery. And when this happens, and this is not happening overnight, it happens during the longer period of time, this market intelligence data is the cornerstone of this kind of behavior, because you can't rely anymore on your inner feelings or somebody financial department, the guy's memory about what happened last year.
Exactly.
Okay, but thank you, Kristian. I think it was a fruitful discussion, and hope to see you soon.
Likewise, Andrea. It was a pleasure, as always.